welcome MILO and come.
Today, a quarter of a century later, all this seems far away. Two other wars dominate European politics, the war in Ukraine, which has already claimed hundreds of thousands of lives, and the war in Gaza. The former TV star is president for the second time. A few weeks ago, Ukrainian President Zelensky and 7 European heads of government, including the German Chancellor, French President Macron, and the head of the EU Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, were guests at Trump's residence. As with Bertolt Brecht or my interviews with the immigration authorities, it was not a meeting between equals, but rather a kind of oral examination. Elfriede Jelinek prefaced her play NYC, The Second Coming, which deals with Trump's return for today's performance with a foreword. In it she writes, I quote, "The substitute class consciousness of the declassed is fascism, which is ultimately subversive. It grows everywhere and covers everything like a blanket of snow. It covers all classes. If you can't feel that you belong to anything or anyone, then you still have a rotten patriotism that deceptively unites everything." End of quote. And she adds, with her characteristic honesty, quote, "When it comes to the end, the final victory, the ultimate victory, I don't even have a conceptual framework in which to classify it. The text is like the strings of a harp that someone is plucking, but I no longer understand what's behind it or how it works." Jelinek refers to Trump's re-election in 2024, but it reminds me of 2012, when Putin became president for the second time, or actually the third time. I remember how disturbed we were, not because the constitution had to be changed. For this, you get used to constitutional changes very quickly in Europe, but because it happened with the support of the Orthodox Church. The Church, the state, and the Secret Service joined forces to form what Putin would later call managed democracy. But the craziest thing was that it happened with almost 90% approval from the Russian people. No one would ever have thought that the people who had gone through more than 70 years of communist dictatorship would once again choose a dictator. This is what Elfriede Jelinek deals with in her text, which Nicola Cox will read to us in a moment. With us, the people who, with somnambulistic blindness, elect the most dangerous, craziest, most unpredictable man to the top of the state. Men who, like Hitler once did, make no secret of their contempt for democracy, composure, and compromise. Convicted rapists like Donald Trump, war criminals like Putin, almost as if our history as a whole were frivolous, a kind of play that we could interrupt at any time if it became too blunt. Yes, as if Trump and Putin were actors, performers in a historical play, modern variants of Shakespeare's Richard III. In a speech at the very beginning of the Resistance Now tour, I called this the Atlantic illusion or the Fukuyama illusion, the conviction that with the victory over fascism and the downfall of state communism, history as a whole had come to an end. The conviction that the West, in the emphatic sense of the term, simply digests the rest of the world, its extremisms, its tribal and feudal remnant traditions, like a cow's stomach.